tell us that you sound like trash. So I'm going to give that a thumbs up. And we're going to get to pick some bands.
I'm not Laji. Let's go. Okay, Haichao Pujian. Let's freaking get into game number 2 because, as we said, it's the Rengar on our minds, right? It's the Nico as well. That, by the way, was banned on blue side last time. LGD, are they going to ban that? Are they going to ban the Jace, which saw no priority last game? Like, what direction, Jamada?
As well. Annie, Jace. Yeah, Jace had no prior in the last game. Jace will be banned away here. You still have, obviously, powerful AD carries up. The Rengar hover, because I think IG just know that it's really funny that it's still up. Annie is up and available. The Ahri as well, still there. Maokai too, but it seems like we won't get the Rengar, unfortunately. It will be this Maokai. Now LGD don't have to, you know, sweat that there could be a big kitty cat on the hunt for them.
They're sweating this time around. Okay, let's just see though, because first pick is, as you already rightfully said, is away from that. But I want to see what supplements it, what supports it, right? That's the biggest thing right now, considering that we are looking at a meta of pretty straightforward competition in the mid lane. The Ahris, the Syndras we've already talked about. Things like the Annie Jamada we saw last game from Haichao, but can still technically be a flex. Well, more so mid these days, right?
Yeah, it's been mid for a really long time. I think once the initial changes came through to Annie, right, it was definitely a flex. It was like, all right, it can go bot, it can go mid. A couple of passing changes, I think specifically toward the Molten Shield, was what really shifted it back towards being strictly a mid laner, and it's remained a very meta staple since then. And will be locked in for LGD. Still has the room for the flexibility. It's just not something we see often. So will IG just take the Ahri side of the matchup again? It will give a lot of magic damage and also just merch rate value to the side of LGD. I would like this Tristana to go through, not towards the bottom side, but for Cryin. I think just having the AD plus AP mid jungle makes so much sense, and they're gonna slam YSKM's Jax blind as well. I anticipate fearness will go towards his Fiora, Jake, but they still have to think about the jungle as well for LGD.
But already another spicy draft from IG. We don't get the Rengar, but we get a Tristana and a bloody Jax. Like, the thing about YSKM that people need to know is this guy is a carry top player. We are in a meta where Triforce is seen as the holy trinity yet again, no pun intended, where Jax, Camille, Fiora, big picks. I'm glad you brought up fearness' Fiora, because yeah, it is on the table. Do IG see it as a big enough threat that they need to ban it away, or do they start looking towards some of these junglers, Jamada, that have been left wide open?
I think because LGD have gone towards their support, they're going to feel a little bit more confident, I beg your pardon, in going towards Meteor's jungle pool here, because if you're IG, you kind of already know that fearness is probably going to have a pretty okay matchup ready. Maybe they feel it's worth to throw out a Malphite ban, because Malphite is something that can deal with Jax one-to-one very well, whilst also being very happy to play into double AD carry comps. And when you likely running the Tristana, I think that ban was a little bit telegraphed. LGD, however, want to remove away, you know, probably another powerful lane duo here from IG. They removed away the Lucian. I wouldn't be surprised if they also just take the Jinx off the table, right? Double hyper carry with a Jax and potentially 2 tanks doesn't really feel like something I would like to play against. I feel like LGD probably wouldn't want to play against it too. So I would anticipate they look to remove one more hyper carry. Oh, okay. This makes a little more sense as well. Xayah, just more because, you know, self-peeling tools. Jinx, you can at the very least pick on because she's a mobile and doesn't have the same level of safety as the Xayah.
I wonder if there's no Xayah, if LGD have just opened themselves up for maybe one of the more standard junglers that we saw at MSI, Jamada. Fiora also the ban away, but LGD, now we have to see what they put as a priority.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Viego. Graves is still up, right? And I think you can definitely play it as like a full lethality champ. It was very close to it. Kennen, okay, yeah, this would be pretty fine too. There's not a lot of disruption to stop the Kennen ult from, or to stop fearness from finding big ults in a backline, so I like this. And we spoke about the Jinx. I think those are the choices for LGD, right? If you remove away the Xayah, then you remove away the innate safety that an AD carry can have. Jinx plus, you know, an Enchanter would probably be fine here. Varus as well, strong option, and directly into that Aphelios, but it's just going to be the Braum and the Jinx, so a strong 2v2 in the bottom side, and LGD looking to round out, I would imagine, with a setup jungler, with a little bit of engage, and Wukong definitely fits that bill.
Braum versus Kennen versus Annie versus Aphelios. A lot of value coming through here from Wink in this game, and I just love that for IG, you know, we looked at them as the Draven aggressive bottom lane, but IG is showing already there's a bit more versatility thrown into that 2v2 this split. As drafts round out in Jamada, for LGD, are we looking at the all-in, the wombo? It just feels like an ulti setup that this team at 6 in skirmishes and team fights is going to become switched on.
Yeah, absolutely. You're just on the money, Jake. I think first Herald, second Dragon as well. If the first one's been taken super quick, I think so many powerful AoE ultimates available to LGD just means that is going to be their power point. I think the early laning phase could potentially be rough for a lot of the side of LGD, right? The bottom lane 2v2, a little bit harsh. I think the mid lane is one where Cryin should be able to get a fair amount of priority, just because Annie, I mean, you've got the auto attack range, right? But you can't really stop the auto shove. You don't necessarily have the level of wave clear. So I think mid jungle and bot are going to have a lot of freedom here on IG. With LGD just looking towards the top side, I think in fairness to try and break open the top side matchup a little bit first, and then you try and move that pressure down towards that first Herald spawn up.
And at least give yourself an edge over YSKM. Last game, the lane wasn't too bad here for this Malphite and fairness, but things have changed. We're on a lot more volatile streak in game number 2. And LGD need to fight their way back in their debut series of the split. Otherwise, IG with a 2-0, it'd be a very convincing start. And Jamada, you and I were talking in rehearsal. We're talking before and saying that if IG could split open LGD in convincing fashion, it would be a great sign for this split. It would be an insane start that would once again confirm that IG are this potential team that can make playoffs like we started to think in spring. But it does come down to this as, hang on, I just saw an assist on fairness. Are we from the future? Is someone dying? Is someone at level 1 dying? I don't know. Maybe it was a glitch.
I think it was a glitch. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. Unless fairness gets an assist really soon, at which point we know shenanigans are afoot, I guess. Question mark.
Yeah. What happens here, maybe? I don't know. Well, let's just wait and see. LGD are grouping up. This could be dangerous. IG, maybe it was from the future. The Winter's Bite is there. Envyy tagged up but not followed up. IG just dropped their way out, dropping a ward as Wink leaves, making sure he can get full information on that Gromp camp as well. And just getting a bit of an advantage. Now, Jamada, as we talked about, as Cryi's just going to get stunned up here, you mentioned IG with a bit of an advantage through mid, through bot, and how they can play these lanes.
Yeah, exactly. I think that Tristana should be able to get the first wave in. Now, this is a 1v1, which, yeah, Tianzhen, it's a little bit hard to lose that, but both junglers will walk away level 1 because Meteor was able to get enough small chickens. You can see if Tianzhen even got one more, he would have leveled up, but he doesn't feel too bad about it. He can go over to his own Raptor camp and just level up. Also leashed a little bit of XP. Still didn't get to level 2, but either way, just sets Meteor a little bit further behind and sets him on a bit of an awkward first pathing where now he could potentially be locked into moving towards the top side, which is perfect for IG because the bottom side is where their strength lies in the early laning phase.
Yeah, true. Again, that's what we wanted to talk about, is how this top side could be a little bit more volatile. Fearness already pushing out YSKM. Jamada, look at the start of this lane. This is great for Fearness as he hits level 2 and continues to zone him away.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing, as I hope we get a little bit of downtime, with the minion changes to the side lanes, right? Obviously, the intended change is to kind of make it a little bit harder for mid laners, specifically to roam, as this level 1 ward is going to actually catch out Meteor on his Gromp. So nice information gained by IG is that if you're in, you know, a shoving lane like this, it can be quite difficult to get out of it in the isolated 1v1. Find windows for good resets, especially once the teleport is down. So we'll see if Fearness can keep up this pressure, right? Because if he can chunk out YSKM, force out an early teleport, as long as Fearness can also reset himself at some point, he can keep YSKM in lane for so long because the minions keep a lot of their movement speed as they make it back into lane when it's shoved up. YSKM doing his best to trade back. Another intended change here. The call for help from these minions. When YSKM trades underneath the tower, the enemy minions aren't hitting him, so that also helps out just a touch more in those 1v1 trades.
Well, speaking of trading, Cryin going to do his own here on the Haichao. Good little burst damage to get him to half health, but Jamada, I mean, if you want to complain about something else, minions just suck under turret now. I hate it. You know, I've been playing a lot of top lane this year. This is the part where the caster makes the cast about them. just to learn the role, right? And it's been a while since I played it, but I came back on 13-10 after MSI, and man, I play a lot of lane bully champions where I shove in the lane, and you know, I just feel bad for the enemy laners because like minions not actually helping in the trades is such a big deal. I mean, you even saw it there, right? When YSKM traded earlier on Fearness. That's an extra 100 HP he'd probably lose for making a trade like that happen. Doesn't happen like that anymore on this patch, as
Tianzhen, these are his chickens, man. These ain't Meteors. Gonna force him out of the top side jungle. Won't find Krugs, as they were picked up earlier on, but pressure still felt.
Man.
Unfortunately, won't be able to make this dive on fearness work. I don't think. Maybe the second
Now back comes through.
Yeah.
But does he teleport in? Surely. I mean, that's a big wave to miss. But you're right. I mean, Tianzhen right now renting out a KFC, it seems. And Meteor losing a couple of camps, but still even as down. Oh. What? Oh, the cameraman, you! Oh, wink at him, and they'll be dead.
Beauty still. Great stuff from Wink. And again, it's just denying Meteor a little bit more, right? IG's tracking of the enemy jungler has been sublime so far in this game. Number one, they've pretty much had his number from start to finish. And not only was he denied basically 2 chicken camps in a row, he's now taken a loss in the Scuttle department, which is probably the biggest hit to a jungler's ego you could give him.
You got to give a bit of credit there for Wink, but also, I mean, credit we've been giving IG all series long. As I want to take a little bit of a stock of what's going on, despite the little steal there. Meteor is keeping up with CS, it seems, but he has been tracked through his early jungle. Tianzhen obviously doing a good job to meet him there each and every time. Just need to pause. fearness in a bit of trouble. YSKM getting some really good trades here. Even through the minion wave. That was like 1.5 minutes of a wave, Jamada. And he pops up and fearness just gets bopped.
Yeah, really good time because the minions do amp the damage of the Counter-Strike as well. So if fearness stood in a wave like that, YSKM can actually just jump inside the wave and get a massive amount of burst damage out of the Counter-Strike. Now, level 6 is here for fearness, so there's a lot of burst available, but I just don't think he's going to have lethal on either of these two. Tianzhen just going to take a back foot. Doesn't want to take the 50-50 as he hasn't reset yet. It's been 6 minutes. He's got a lot of gold.
Yeah. Maybe thinking there's a little bit sus. fearness sitting in the middle of the wave. Tianzhen does make that reset happen, but we look back towards mid because guess who's jumping all in again? Cryin doing some real good trades. He also hits the turret, by the way. I forgot that interaction existed where Satchel Charge, Satchel Charge, you know what I'm talking about, Jamada. As Tibbers comes out, Haichao, a trade of his own, actually gets the AoE onto turret. So Cryin close getting that first plating in the mid lane in the meanwhile. Haichao just puts a little bit more damage into the wave here. And look, I feel like we're just chilling out a bit more than we were last game. Mr. Marta, we got ourselves 1:30 till the Herald. Dragon's sitting up there and chilling. I feel like we might have both objectives up at the same time to fight for.
Yeah, we definitely could do. Feels pretty good for LGD, all things considered, though, because we spoke about how it's level 6 where their skirmishing power really comes online, right? Haichao obviously has the Annie out on the field right now, or the Tibbers rather, on field right now. It does have a pretty short cooldown if it stays alive the entire duration, so it won't feel too bad. And Meteor has actually been put far enough behind to the point where I feel like it might take him a while to hit level 6 at this point, but still matching level with Tianzhen right now. Smite's not available, however, for Tianzhen. So this Scuttle, he's got to kind of wait out a bit. He's got 10 seconds left, but with the support of his bottom lane, he should be able to score that one. And again, Meteor has just denied more resources.
And again, Tianzhen just kind of playing the Maokai. I feel like, as we were used to seeing from the WE jungler. I'm trying to think, Jamada, maybe I'll lose my train of thought here for the time being. His stun comes out, Meteor not being respected nearby, but he can't get the range onto Cryin, so he rocket jumps away. Cryin then just fishes the wave closer towards him. But this won't be able to get his first plate of the game. Remember, that Satchel Charge did a lot of damage, rather. Explosive Charge, Explosive Shot. They all sound so similar. It's now that we're getting more champions, more items into the game. Like, there are so many names for things, it's hard to keep up. It's like, again, complaining about being a caster is just such like a first world problem, you know?
It really is. You know, me and Joe yesterday were talking about like all of the AD item changes, of course, the component like paths in, having to relearn those sometimes, you know. He saw a new quiver, he was like, oh yeah, you know, that champion's going into a mythic, and it's like, oh, actually the new quiver doesn't go into mythics anymore. It feels bad, man.
Dude, I can't get over the, you know, the new Ornn changes, as hopefully we will see in an Ornn. Get to talk about Cry of the Shrieking City for the Echoes of Helia, which I think is a busted item. Yeah, well, it makes sense. Cry of the Shrieking City, Echoes of Helia. Helia is obviously a city, so it makes sense that the Ornn upgrade is called, you know, that's a banger name, but let's see if it ever comes up. First, we've got to see some Echoes of Helia. Did you guys see any Echoes of Helia yesterday? I don't remember seeing. I think we still seeing
not off the top of my head. We did have Nami, but it was Mandate Rush, right? Because the item so much cheaper, it deals so much more damage and gives so many more attack speed stats. Engage is coming in here on the top side.
Tianzhen with the right ulti as well. There's a slicing maelstrom. Tianzhen doesn't care. He smashes the ground and lets them know that YSKM will be receiving the bounty. But the first blood for this Jax top as Cryin has the outie out of there. Haichao chasing after him. Cryin just at half HP, but an IG win in the top side is what IG fans know will do them well.
Yeah, that felt like a play that was going to happen for a while. He was eyeing it up a couple of minutes ago as well, Tianzhen, but this time around, fearness a little bit too far up the lane. Ultimate just locks him in place, and surprisingly, they won't be able to pick up this Herald after the fact. It's actually going to be LGD who rotate their bottom side up, and you can see, I think IG are actually halfway into rotation for this play, but recognize they'll be too far behind. So this isn't even really punished by LGD, or by IG rather. LGD are effectively kind of just getting this Herald for free. No Dragon is being picked up, no plates are being stolen away on the bottom side, and they're even going to keep their bottom laners in the top.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Guys,
Hello?
please.
Hello?
Nah.
Shit. No, he's... Okay, well, I'd be spewing. It's a new tactic. I'm sorry. Oh, God, I'm sorry. I guess at that point, they'll realize the Super Mega Death Rocket flies through. They'll realize that no one in the inventory has a Herald. Tianzhen coming up to defend the top side. They're like, this would have been a lot easier with a Herald. In fact, they probably would have gotten close to getting first turret. But Jamada, it stays standing.
You know, this is my last day on the LPL for a little while. And this is the second time. This is the second time I've seen some shenanigans like this in the span of 24 hours. And you know, maybe it's a good thing I'm not here for the next couple of weeks. But I mean, look, for LGD, they still get the plates, right? They still get a fair amount of plates on the top side. Some CS is denied. But like, come on, guys. Come on, come on. I mean, let's see what IG do in response now, right? Because realistically, LGD should have picked up an entire tower. The play kind of fizzles out a little bit sooner, and it's maybe given IG a window, no? To set up in this river. Thought they would, but doesn't seem to be the case here.
So let's talk a little bit about setup for this Dragon then, because, you know, Wink now has ulti. We've got Arn's ulti off cooldown coming soon as well. Everyone's got everything up, it seems. And I'm kind of expecting an all-out brawl here, as no one's touched the Dragons now. Everyone moves back to waves. Cryin and Haichao battling it out, but Tibbers, what a rigged champion that is, as Cryin is now bullied out yet again. We'll see if that gives LGD any windows towards this objective that is waiting so eerily long to be taken. I mean, 12 minutes first Dragon, Jamada, it's ages. Oh,
yeah, it's quite a long ways away from where it's normally taken, right? 12 minutes in. But for LGD, I mean, they can fight whenever they want. I will say for IG, in the long run, this should technically benefit them, right? They're running double hyper carry ADCs. Jax is also, you know, kind of a hyper carry in his own strange, weird way. Are we getting a replay of them leaving the Herald? Did he? Okay. Did he think that he picked it up? This is key. This is crucial. He went for the plants and then just forgot. Okay. Well,
he wasn't looking anywhere else first. I mean, look, guys, there'll be people in chat laughing, but are we any better? Look at our ranks. Look at ourselves.
No.
Guys, I have found an achievement to get to Gold 2 the other day. That's how sad my League of Legends career is, okay? So I will give Meteor the benefit of the doubt. He was a national or a global ping pong champion as well. How many of us can say we've done that with League and ping pong? Yeah, he was actually. He was a professional ping pong player. I don't know how far he went, but I'm going to say Olympics, question mark? From what I remember, like 5 years ago, 4 years ago.
That's really cool.
It is cool.
That's a cool fact. Yeah, you know what? Never mind. He's forgiven. If he can play ping pong, he's probably a bro.
He's not really forgiven, though. Let's be real. But we just know we're not any better.
No. We're not. You know, we joked about that Dragon. It did get taken down finally, so we're going to have a late soul, and that's what I was getting to. For IG, with all the scaling, they'll feel pretty happy about the fact that there won't be a soul on the map for so long, because realistically, you get to, you know, 2.5, 3 items on Cryin, on Arn. You feel great about that. YSKM is just going to continue to try and bully out fearness as best as he can. Staying even in CS in this matchup is a pretty good indicator that the Jax is going to remain on curve for the immediate future. And I think once he gets his Mythic online, it still looks like he's going towards the Divine Sunderer. No Triforce here in this game. Just being able to have that little bit extra amount of sustain will definitely go the distance in making sure those trades stay in your favor.
Always changes in competitive play as well, doesn't it? Like, I feel like what passes for solo queue and what items are, you know, OP might not always make their transition in, right? Divine Thunder against a team that will build a bit of health as well. People like Nautilus, people like the Wukong too. Let's not forget that naturally the Kennen will have a bit as Dreadfly brings in Wing. He's by himself. He has to pop the ulti. How much trouble is he in? Is the question you're all asking at home. And the answer, not too much. As remember, there's no Dragon up. It was taken by IG a little bit before. So they're just fighting around the bottom side, looking for an advantage into the enemy jungle. They'll find none. They'll only find Wink's ulti in the end.
Yeah, only Wink's ult. And they'll back away. And I mean, realistically, I don't think they're going to find another engage opportunity like that for a little bit, just because of the pacing of this game. I think LGD really do want to try their best to blow open the game with a play. I think around the next Herald that spawns in a minute, if IG are looking to contest it, the first items are starting to come in very slowly but surely here for LGD, right? The Divine Thunder on the Wukong makes him a complete beast. Fearness as well. I wonder if... No, okay. I wonder if he's going to stay in the bush. Like, he felt like he was unseen, very close to being hit. But for Fearness as well, that rocket belt, I imagine, has to be pretty close to being completed. And Haichao's first item is the Luden's Echo, so that's up and available. So LGD, they're online and ready to team fight and skirmish. It's just about whether or not they're actually going to get the opportunity, and whether or not IG give it to them.
We have to see 2 minutes till that next track, and it's been a slow one. Everyone's sitting at home, just chilling and waiting, because the last game was like 30, 40 kills or something. We popped off. But as we said and we talked about in draft, like this is a lot of alt buttons, Jamada, a lot of all-in AoE, massive team fight from angles here from LGD. We also mentioned that IG, if those backline carries stay alive, they will pop. So we got to look for that damage coming out now with the one items you mentioned, especially since they're moving towards this topside Herald. Looking for the engage up here. IG aren't going to find it. Instead, they'll get Fearness's TP out. Actually, he used that towards the top side of the map, so he does himself a bit of priority top. But Jamada crying on Haichao. I just want to see someone die. I might sound like a bit of a psychopath, but I really need to see something happen because everyone's just posturing. No one's pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I think now that the Storm Razor's there for Cryin, also has the Merc Treads, the ability to actually space a little bit better if you get that first wall attack off, certainly there. So we might have your wishes answered very, very soon. But for now, again, both these teams just not really willing to pull the trigger on anything too aggressive for now. But again, finally this Herald which is spawning up, which is being toyed with by Tianzhen. Time and time again, LGD, I think what LGD want right now is they want mid lane priority, and they won't go into the river unless they have it. But IG with the Jinx and the Rockets are able to take it so freely that it's just locking them there. And then because the waves are like coming in at the same time on the side lane, it means that YSKM and Fearness can never really rotate in properly. But here we go.
That's Haichao. YSKM might have to deal with both of them. Haichao's come on in. He hasn't been spotted on the TP. That was for the Herald. IG are playing it epically cautious though, with YSKM getting backed off by Fearness. They're just giving this, but the problem is, Jamada, you already mentioned, it's not just wave clear, it's range and damage. They have 280 carries. Bot just died. Mid is now going to get shoved in as well. IG are probably getting a hell of a lot more gold than they should have from this.
Yeah, it certainly will be. And I think if IG were a little bit more decisive as well on the back end of this, to give up the Herald, shoving the wave, get a little more damage down into that tier 1, they could have maybe even taken it. Maybe I'm overstating. They kept all members there, but they will get this second dragon, right? And stacking up towards what looks like it's going to be a Cloud Soul will feel good, right? For a lot of these champions, the movement into LGD will feel alright.
Engage. Dangerous. Here's the Maokai ulti as well. Wink absorbs everything. There's a depth charge. Haichao's gone pretty deep. Excuse me, it's Fearness. He's bopped back under the turret. They used everything on Wink, and now Envyy going forward, but that's YSKM, baby. JinJiao launches in, but the only person getting launched in is this mid laner, Cryin. He's in, then he's out, and he's free falling. Following it up under the turret, and underneath, he'll survive too. Tibbers gets angry and tries to bop him for dead. But when you use everything on a Brom, you better expect what's coming next.
It's a 1-for-5 clean, almost ace for IG. YSKM just goes a little bit too deep for Haichao on the end of it, but they don't care. They're going to pick up 2 towers as well on the back end, and this is all because LGD wanted to try and stop them from rotating in and commit for that tier 1 tower with the Rift Herald. Excellent fight from IG, And it's just an overextension from LGD, right? I think once fearness gives over his life because he tries to commit the ultimate, you just need to sack your top laner here, right? The Maokai ultimate's already flown through. There's no more CC left up, but they want to help. And I think this overcommitment for 3-4 seconds to bring in YSKM, even though the stun only hits onto one, I'm not gonna lie, the animation looks like it should have stunned all of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
As soon as he comes in, it's lights out, because then you start to get the resets going for Arn, for Cryin, and you can see how quickly the fight turns on its head in IG's favor.
This team is nuts. I mean, there's been some moments, let's be real, that IG have been humbled a bit by LGD, but the majority has just been these team fights that are incredible. Cryin especially, now on yet another carry. It was Ari game 1. The Tristana here going into harm's way without any cares in the world. Just having a day of it, isn't he? His YSKM, whoa, trying to take out the family within the middle. Haichao just dies. Essentially a 1v4. YSKM does not care.
Man, YSKM has he's been in the hyperbolic time chamber, hasn't he? over the off season. 1 versus 4. Oh, I think he's also going towards the new Hullbreaker too, which is an item which was efficiency buff over 1310. I don't think Tianzhen is going to make anything stick here. Just a little bit of poke onto fearness, and this is something that you can maybe expect from split pushing champions whenever they do come out of the locker, right? The Camille, the Fiora, the Jax will lean on the Hullbreaker a little bit more, a little bit of extra AD and some movement speed, crucially as well, given to the item. Does make it a little more desirable to a lot of these bruisers and that want to play on the side lane, then occasionally, you know, rotate over. That movement speed helps out so much.
And again, YSKM is now battering down people like fearness. Going to be a lot of fun to watch because now got an item advantage. Despite being down CS, was able to pick up a bit of plating, I believe, and at least rather find himself a bit of pressure through the turret too to get the gold. In a favorable position, but let's be real, Jamada, if we're talking favorable position, it's Cryin, it's Arn. They're probably the majority of this 5,000 gold lead at 21 minutes. These double 80 carries, so far LGD haven't really been able to touch them, and I think we've got to give credit to the disruption. Tianzhen and Wink have been this massive wall that LGD haven't been able to get back. Holy crap! Oh my god, now Meteor's like, oh, I can get in there, but Cyclone's on the other two. He's been caught out too. It's a depth charge, that's great though. Arn will dive at Cryin. Still free hitting. Meteor lucky to get away, but meanwhile, as they fly in, Cryin in a bit of trouble. fearness takes him out. And finally, it's a win here for LGD as Wink runs into the fray. And a baller move from the mid laner, but it also cost IG so much.
Yeah, I think because IG tried to rotate over and cover, LGD cut them off at a crucial point, and now Tianzhen is up with YSKM in a 2 versus 4, but Haichao has teleport, so it'll be a 2v5 very soon. This should just be going over to LGD. Almost no doubt. YSKM doesn't want to give it up. I think he's the one calling over. Tianzhen, he has flash. They can flip it, but I mean...
Tianzhen. He has flash available. As you said, blast code is there. They all jump on over. Tianzhen in the end will be dying here. They ain't taking any chances. We ain't getting any of those flippy barons we saw at MSI. It's a safety objective here for LGD. They claw up their gold. And IG's one wrong move is punished nicely by our red-sided team.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the solo kill, because it's just Cryin finding a great angle. Gale Force as well for the final 300 HP. Yeah, and then Arn and Wink just looking for Meteor, then get re-engaged on double Cyclone. Double knock up for Arn. Just feels bad. And Wink, unfortunately, being held up by JinJiao, really well played by him to stop him from being killed for. fearness with the teleport just executes Cryin because he was so low from the 1v1. And Wink has to commit his life. So IG trying to cover for that mid laner who, honestly, didn't really need the coverage. I think he was out. Cost them a Baron, and now the gold is also back to even. IG probably can't contest this third Dragon of the game. 5k gold lead thrown away here by IG. And LGD now fully back in it.
And the Dragon stacking as well, as you just mentioned. LGD not only just back in it, but we have to go back to what we know is true. Envyy with his debut here today. In a great position all of a sudden. 2 items here on the Aphelios. Starting to stack up himself. fearness as well in this Kennen that we'll start to forget about. Now's a Proto Belt and a Void stuff. So 2 items, 2 items, 2 items, 2 items. I'm looking across LGD's members and I'm seeing 2s. And especially with that Zonya's Hourglass, Haichao can start making some moves with flash available. Jamada, it's looking good here for LG, so walk me through what their next game plan is with this Baron.
Yeah, I think just trying to knock down some more towers, right? They haven't gotten a single one, so I can't even use the word more. They just need to knock down towers with the Baron. Plain and simple. We'll see how much wave clear IG can be afforded with, but I think with how powerful some of these carries are just standing in front of the tower, it should be enough for Envyy to just kind of be escorted around the map and take those standing bits of gold away. Cryin. Oh, fearness is dead.
Oh, well, yes, he is. You'd expect it. There's the ulti into the wall. Separates fearness. The range, the Gale Force. He rocket jumps and he gets it. But now he needs to reset and get out of there. Cryin is flash available, but he thinks he's dead as well. Meteor books on the head. And that 1-for-1 is now traded out as Tianzhen even ultis through. Envyy going to be blocked here by his support, but it enables IG to get the mid lane turret in the process.
Yeah, I mean, IG, you know, they trade 1-for-1 on the map and get a tower. It's still an uptrade, right? This is Baron time, so this feels quite poor for LGD. Not really gaining much from the Baron overall, right? They do claw themselves back into the game gold-wise, so it's all right. As I didn't quite see why Wink had to flash for a second as I was looking over at my second monitor. But of course, it was being collapsed on, so that's to summon the spell down. But for LGD, you know, the net positive is still there, right? They're up 200 gold from claiming the Baron. But not really gaining much in the grand scheme of things other than time. Will certainly feel bad considering IG are what of the double AD carries and a split pusher on the side.
True, and again, that whole break you already talked about, the longer those lanes, the more YSKM can build up those waves in Jamada, the more that we can see this Jax take over as he approaches 6 as well. Side lanes versus team fighting. We've already seen some good ones here from LGD. We've seen some good punishes. And again, IG were the ones who threw away that 5k gold lead. This should have been their game too. It should have been a kind of a clean finisher, right? We talked about IG being a team that could hit playoff contentions this split, but it's moments like that that remind you why they didn't make it in spring, while this team, who is still comprised of 3 out of the 5 members, struggled to get it across the line against some of those greater teams. You can't make those mistakes against our top 8, our top 10, because you won't get away with it. And, you know, against LGD, we have to see if they're another team that won't let IG get away with this big blunder.
Yep, nail on the head. They have to be clinical against these teams who, you know, realistically have very similar aspirations to them, right? LGD started to positively trend throughout the back end of spring. I'm not saying that they're necessarily going to, you know, make top 10 for sure in summer, but, you know, you bring in an AD carry like Envyy, it's pretty clear what the intentions are on your side, right? You're trying to build on what was a pretty positive back end of the split. For IG, you have to take down a team like this, because these guys will be, you know, one of your direct competitors if you're thinking about IG being a team that, you know, bottom side can kind of finish maybe worst case 12th, best case maybe 8th, 7th, right? That will likely be the ceiling. You have to take down a team like.
Yeah, there's no excuses, right? IG need to stand to the occasion, and in 1 minute 30, I feel like we're going to get a greater answer to that as well. We've got the Dragon coming up, one taken by LGD. They stopped the flow of this Cloud Soul, but IG still have a bit of power. The 3-item Tristan, the 3-item Jinx, you can see there now as well. We already mentioned the Jax, who's fast approaching 3rd item, which looks like Wit's End as well, which makes sense with the double AP solo laners. I want to mention that we've got 3 items on Envyy too. So we do have the LDR there, Jamada. That is going to deal with a lot of this Maokai, maybe a lot of the Brom as well. Some of the tanky stats now having a bit of an option here for LGD to pass through.
Yeah, absolutely. Can cut through these frontliners. Needs the good guns too. At the moment, sat on the Chakrams and the Gravitums. Wants to swap the white gun out. No doubt should be Infernum after that. And even though it's not like the highest DPS guns in the world as like a duo, you still have a lot of utility and AoE, right, between blue and purple. So we'll see whether or not he tries to get through those magazines, as Cryin, just being a nuisance on the side lane, is actually pulling a lot of priority up here. But with 20 seconds left until the Dragon spawns up, it shouldn't really cost LGD much at all. There's the Infernum swap over, so for Envyy, he's got 1 or 2 choices. It looks like he's trying to empty out the Gravitum, and this could give him maybe Calibrum, I think? So Sniper plus blue, AoE and range, really, really strong combo as well.
While we're just talking about items, BT, just note that Tristana has 358 AD.
Oh, yeah,
thanks to 40 AD, because he's almost level 18. Remember now, it doesn't give that shield, as I might need to stop talking about that, because, oh my god, Infernum splash damage is just hitting the mark. Wink has to stand in front as LGD are trying to run them down. The range from Arn is good here, but watch Cryin as well. With those draw beads, he's now getting to that point too, as LGD zoned out of the mid wave, want to walk towards Baron, but they're sitting on the edge of vision. Tianzhen gets rooted in. The team's not here, but the jungler's now down. Before this Jax can get in, who's soloing the Dragon, LGD might have found their window to get Baron again.
Yeah, that feels so bad. And now YSKM is trying to salvage the situation and go towards the side lane, pick up the tier 2, because I think they know that they're going to lose the dragon. Oh, the Baron rather. So they'll send Cryin on to the dragon instead, try and get this tier 2 and trade out as much immediate gold as they can. But that's a massive pick from LGD, who pick up the second Baron of the game. And again, still a lot of towers standing on the map for them to pick up. So this time around, you hope, don't get picked off, don't have the tempo on the map broken up. And they should be able to pick up a lot of extra gold into the back pocket, specifically of Envyy. But fearness and Haichao as well has to be noted. I mean, actually, to tell a lie, fearness just hit third item, whereas Haichao still wants to make it to his.
But as you said, not much to be gained from IG. A single turret on the bottom side. That top turret is going to fall over from a gust of wind anyway, but Haichao now finally able to secure it. We're having a look at gold on the bottom of our screen, but someone is just toggling and annoying me. Keep it on gold. I want to see what's going on. I think they're showing us that Haichao was sitting on 2,500 gold. Yeah. He's now back. He's picked up his Void Staff too, so we are singing the praises of LGD at this point. This Baron looks so threatening, Jamada. I'm trying to clear it away, but the minion waves still pretty hard to deal with the threat of Nautilus, the threat of fearness as well. That engage that LGD have been utilizing well. Even under turret, IG have to be careful where they stand.
Yeah, like the thing is for IG, even with the limited engage options they do have, they can't really, heedlessly go in, because LGD, their engage tool is very strong. They also work as peel tools. YSKM finds a pick on the side potentially, and JinJiao's dead in the mid lane. Jake, what's going on?
He's just decided that life was not worth living. Apparently YSKM, as you said, on the sideline, playing it out again in front of the whole team. Just when IG, you thought they were out and getting bullied around, they pull it back in.
My goodness me, YSKM as well. Wit's End completed, right? So he just feels so much more confident to walk into Haichao, even though he's got the Void Star. Just can't deal as much damage as the Jax can in that kind of situation. And now again, right? Jake, we said LGD with Baron, they need to get stuff done, not have the map broken up. But it's been broken up again, now there's an engage.
Onto Arn and Cryin, it's good. They've got 180 carry. Meteor's done a great job of setting this up. But fearness unable to find anything more, and Cryin still alive. YSKM on the back end decides that Envyy is going to get a bonk on the head as well. Double inhibitor open up now as Meteor and JinJiao threatening the low health Jax, but IG have done it again against this Baroned up team. They're threatening not only one inhib, but two. They'll only walk out with one. But Invictus Gaming finding the mark somehow, even after a great engage from Meteor.
Yeah, really great, but I think nice bit of discipline on the back end of this from IG. If this is IG in Spring, they go for that second inhibitor, they could get teleported on by Haichao, and I think that's what they're counting on. What happened in the mid lane? It was just the clip of the Winter's Bite, and then he knows he has to come.
Fair enough.
It looks worse than it is. It looks worse than it is. He was going to get stunned up and likely die anyway, so just goes in. And yeah, flash away from Haichao from the counter-strike, but unfortunately, yeah, YSKM has a flash of his own and finds that solo kill on the side lane.
YSKM, that Wit's End now finally complete as well. That side lane, speaking of, is a level 18 Jax you have to go up against. And Jamada, it's not the only one, right? Cryin now with 4 items, Stormrazor and Phantom Dancer. That is a mighty combo, but moreover, we all know the new Stormrazor is ridiculous, and we're about to see ridiculous in the flesh. fearness goes golden, but how far can he survive? He's got the ulti available, but will he use it? YSKM responding to the teleporters, rest of LGD coming topside. But look at bot, this little Tristana that could.
I know, right? Tristana pushing on the bottom side. And I'm going to be honest, I'll take YSKM in a 2v1 here. I think he wins. I think he might.
Let's have a look with Hullbreaker as possible, right? But the stun's up there, surviving for a long time, but a shutdown over to fearness. Haichao and fearness, however, have committed. However, IG are unable to find anything on the bottom side, so it feels like a meritable trade.
Yeah, goes in, doesn't get anything with the counter-strike, and as soon as no stun connects and no consistent DPS can be found, they're just bursting down the CC. So really good job from the LGD solo laners, and like you mentioned, cleared out on the bottom side from LGD. I think for IG, they probably just need to wait for this next dragon to spawn up, pick up the soul, and then see if they can also transfer it into the Baron as well, right? They've not been able to pick up a single Baron, and I think that's what's been the biggest issue here for IG. The fact that they've given over critical picks whilst the Baron's been up to then not be able to pick up the big purple worm buff to try and close out this game has been the kicker. LGD has to be, given credit though, the amount of tenacity they've had to find those picks and continue to keep IG on their toes.
Well, in 5 seconds, maybe we compliment them again. It just depends, because this 20-second Dragon timer is what we're looking towards, folks. Does this go the distance? Or have LGD run out of spunk here in the game? I've got so many questions. It's been a back and forth for a very slow early game. Things feel like they're only heating up. As look at Cryin on the top side yet again. He's got teleport available. And Jamada, it looks like IG want to play this side lane, really put tempo into the game and say, hey, LGD, if you want Dragon, that's fine. We're on Soul Point. We are dictating the pace.
Yeah, we really don't care about this Dragon, right? It's one individual cloud. We will potentially take or open up the base yet again. We can take control of the Baron side area, get mid lane priority, do so much, even look for a fight on the back end.
YSKM coming in. It's a 3-man counter-strike again. Envyy, oh no, what a debut. Meeting with Cryin, meeting with IG. It is a massacre. It is a ham sandwich. Ladies and gentlemen, take a bite, because Invictus Gaming, they're hungry tonight.
They want to finish this game in a clean 2-0. The game itself has been a little bit up and down. I think more credit to LGD than anything else. We'll see if Haichao and Fearness have anything to say, but in a 5v2, I think it's going to be quite difficult. And IG are cruising off the back of a very strong debut from Cryin, and the rest of IG coming together too.
And Cryin just having a David, as you said, now for the final blow, but Fearness, oh baby, is it not over? I think we got a bit more time in the game, as Wick now stands there. Fearness just taking apart everyone, but YSKM can 1v2, however, timers are not in his favor. That cannon pressed a button and got sent into a happy place.
My god, the cannon plus anti-damage was absurd. A triple kill goes over. Let's see, I mean, this should be done and dusted, Jay. This should just be done and dusted, so it's kind of like Maokai goes in, kind of pushes. Oh no, that's not yeah, that's tough. I didn't quite catch that. I thought Cryin was just caught in the ultimate. I didn't realize that he was pushed in. And with the death timers as long as they are, LGD are gonna get another Baron. I swear, if LGD still
what the hell is happening? Wait, Fearness is gonna die? No, he's out. Is LGD what, Jamada? You gotta finish.
If LGD like still lose this game, this might be the most amount of Barons I think I've seen a team have like consecutively and still lose the game.
Three is a lot in 36 minutes. Like 3 is a lot. I feel like the number 4 and number 5 has to be a record. Surely there's an LCS team out there, sorry to throw shade, that has had too many Barons, you know, still can't end the game. I feel like that's the region that feels very relevant. Maybe now's not the time to throw shade, but hey, at the very least, LGD with another Baron. The game goes on, they only lost 1 Nexus turret. No backdooring really available right now. And I guess we wait for the next Dragon? I guess? Or we wait for IG to try and force for the last team fight.
It's what I think for IG, I'm kind of surprised they have Cryin on the top side right now. I feel like you would probably want YSKM up there, but that's the allocation they've gone for at the minute. But I'm trying to think, like, as IG, because LGD have been so good at, you know, base defense and just generally finding picks, do you just try and continue to commit to the side lane plays? Because I feel like the side lane plays have been arguably the most successful when the side laners have been left to their lonesome, right? It feels like when IG overcommit to the side to try and protect said side lane, that's when things become a bit problematic. For now, though, that aside, for LG just happy to try and siege up where they can right now with 90 seconds still left on this Baron.
YSKM gonna come out of brush, not gonna pull a spooky surprise as Cryin's back up in that top lane. Mid getting pushed, but IG have to pay the respect. I mean, LGD have grouped up as a 4-man, and they are taking turrets down so quickly. A lot of gold being sent over to this team, whether it's as relevant or not. And now looking for their first inhibitor turret.
Yeah, first almost 40 minutes in. That's a teleport. They'll see it because it's on a control ward, but the engage is coming in, Jake.
Nate just grabs this huge depth charge as well. On the return, excuse me, wasn't actually used. We got it knocked up there in the end from Tianzhen as YSKM was spotted on a ward. LGD backing away. They pulled the TP. And they haven't lost a single member, so we continue to wait with bated breath as IG aren't able to find the fight. YSKM still thirsty for it.
Does want it, but they're just trying their best to stay away. As the re-siege comes back in, 20 seconds still left on the Baron. YSKM is on the same flank again. He'll be spotted, but I think LGD have committed a little bit too far. And they're going to get engaged on surely, but aren't chunked out. They're just a bit hesitant, IG.
Just waiting. I mean, YSKM, again, won't follow through. So we wait and we see. And I guess 20 seconds for the Dragon. IG don't want to pull the trigger, Jamada, because they want that soul. They want that advantage that makes the game a little bit easier for them. Especially with LGD backing away. Teleport being used. Wait, Cryin is obviously going to try and go for the end for Dragon. They don't care.
Okay, this is an interesting one. He teleports top to kill like a wave and a half. And he's going to stay top. So if fearness teleports down, no, Dragon's gone.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But now Cryin can commit.
He can end. They're all hit.
Haichao has to go back to what is going on?
Fearness caught out. And this is complete yakety sack. Ulti onto fearness. There's the rocket helping out. They don't have that much damage, but they are stopping the cannon.
Oh my god.
And they've taken his ulti. That's a lot, but the chompers are out. Arn should just get the kill here. And does so. Has split up. Cryin now taking on Haichao. Will get him as well. Tim is a little bit angry about that one, but Cryin now playing against time as the whole enemy team comes to the top side. Inhibitor down. Saving Private Ryan. It won't be done. LGD take him down. And this is just hilarity if it finishes off our series.
Have you missed the LPL, Jake?
Yeah.
Have you?
What a
Because I have. You know, yesterday was great. This game is great. Now IG on the cusp of trying to end out this 40-minute barn burner. They've got the second inhibitor. It looks like they'll get the third. And maybe this is what will topple LGD. All right? They've been so damn good at holding on to this game.
Yep.
Maybe 3 inhibitors is where they max out. Maybe this is critical mass. For now, IG looking to just reset. And I mean, 60 seconds on the Baron. This is as by the books as it can get, all right? Let all of the super minions push in. Go towards the Baron when you see everyone in LGD has to deal with it. And then you play your little dance. And you wait until the minions end or LGD make a mistake. Surely, right?
I don't think a book was involved in this game. I don't think anyone's looking at any textbook. I don't think it's by the book, Jamada. I think this is just whatever feels right for you. And as Baron comes up number 4, I think it feels right to just fight for this one and see where it goes. They've been a little bit trepidatious, if that's the right word. I don't know. My English is absolutely garbage for someone that speaks it regularly. But in 30 seconds, surely, guys, we get an answer. Like, surely, right? There's no way this game continues on.
You said no one's reading a book. I feel like the coaching staffs of both teams here are going to be throwing books at LGD, saying, read! We need to be educated again on how to close out. But for LGD, again, it has to be said, still a very tenacious game. Being thrown so far behind in the early stages, right? 20 minutes into this game, they were down like 5,000-6,000 gold. But now another 20 minutes on, gold is even. Everyone is more or less at full build, right? A couple of people a little bit short. And IG have been held off, right? They've been kind of fighting in the trenches to do their best to end this game. And right now, with the Baron up, now you imagine it's time. But, I mean, Cryin was on the bottom side of the map with practically, or rather, YSKM was running out of mana on the bottom side of the map. They both have teleport, almost. So, I think they're trying to play the long con here with the supers. It's a bold strategy, but I think it should just buy them the space to get the Baron.
They're backing off for now. LGD are moving into position. Wink is zoning away. That's Meteor. Ulti comes out. Baron's not that quick without the second 80 carry. Cryin and YSKM are running in. Baron away. LGD are grouped up 3 here. It's a 2v2 in base. Ultis ahoy as Cryin is doing the damage. Look at this man again getting Timbers out of the face of fearness. Gets chunked out. YSKM on his deathbed. Tries to run in and he dies. Meanwhile, Nautilus flushes as the LPL is unrelenting. An open nexus for Cryin. fearness and Haichao are trying to get him off. fearness will die. Haichao's next. And Cryin has just shown that his time on the bench was misplaced. Welcome back to the LPL for an absolute epitome of a closer.
And welcome to your stint on...